Are you thinking about moving to Florida and buying a home and you want to know some of the greatest mistakes that people make? Well, if you are, then you're in the right place today. As a local realtor just outside of Orlando, I get a lot of calls from people moving here from another state. Florida's population has increased every year since like 1946, and 4 of the top 10 metros in the United States that people are moving to are right here in Florida, with Orlando being number 6. As such, I'm often dealing with difficult circumstances for buyers that could have been avoided had they taken a few simple steps. Today, I'm going to be sharing some important tips to help you avoid some of these mistakes. Now, these mistakes aren't listed in any particular order, so be sure to stick around as the last 2 are as important as number 1. The real estate market here in Florida tends to go bonkers from time to time, and when it does, buyers sometimes panic as the fear of missing out sets in. They see a home with beautiful photos and they get excited. They're telling themselves that it's absolutely perfect based on those photos and some online research about the area. Then they pick up the phone, or worse yet, they send an email telling some local realtor that they want to make an offer on that home. Now, it may seem odd to you, but this happens, and it happens to very intelligent people, just like you. I'm Chuck Shaver, and I'm a local realtor near Orlando. If this is the information you're looking for, would you do me a favor and hit that like button? It's a huge boost to the success of this channel. My team and I always discourage sight unseen purchases. While we do virtual tours all the time on our phones, and we really do a great job with them, we still narrate those tours based on our perceptions, not yours. Virtual tours don't tell you everything about what the neighborhood is like. I don't care what type of online research you do. They don't tell you about the smells of a home or the gut feeling that you get when you see it home. We cannot envision how Junior is going to like his new bedroom based on the location in the new home, or how your loved ones are going to like riding their bicycles or walking the dog in the surrounding neighborhoods. If you're thinking about spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home, then, at the very least, come spend the weekend to get in that home for yourself and drive around the area. Now, I'm sure that you're a busy person and that job transfer is maybe happening quickly, but this is one of the biggest mistakes that you can easily avoid. We've got round-trip flights coming in and out of Orlando for well under $200, and that's a small investment for a purchase of this size. The next mistake people often make may be the sister mistake of number 1, and that is buying a home in a state you never visited. Now, if this isn't you, hang on with me until I get to number 3, because this one could still apply to you if you're moving to Florida from another state. I noted earlier that a lot of people are moving here, and that's for good reason. Florida had a net increase of like 320,000 people between 2021 and 2022, but that doesn't mean that we don't have people moving out of Florida. People leave Florida every day because it just isn't for everyone. Maybe it's the humidity or the constant sweating. I know that's an issue for me from like May through September. Maybe it's the bugs or the alligator, or maybe it's just the distance from your family or for some other reason. If you're thinking about moving to Florida, you need to spend some time here before you even think about putting your home on the market where you currently live, or before you make any major decisions for that matter. Moving is very expensive, and I'm not just talking about the costs of selling and buying a home. I'll address some other expenses in a bit. Spending a week here, heck, even a weekend will give you some idea of how you will perceive what Florida is actually like. An out-of-state move is a risky endeavor for sure. If you'd like help with this process, give me or someone on my team a call and we'll be happy to help. Of course, hit that subscribe button and click that little notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post other videos just like this. I've dealt with time crunches in my life, and my decision making is usually poor when I'm in them. Looking back, I remember one conversation I had in my head, yes, I talked to myself, when I completely justified to myself a completely ridiculous purchase. It wasn't the salesperson's fault or the smooth music they were playing. The truth is that I couldn't think clearly about this purchase of right around 30 grand when I was under a time crunch. And you know what? I'm betting that you won't do that either when you need to purchase a new home that'll cost you several hundred thousands of dollars. Failure to plan could cost you cold, hard cash, and that's a painful lesson to learn when it could have been completely avoided. Moving to Florida, or any other state for that matter, is very expensive, and there's more to it than just the cost of buying or selling. What about replacing that furniture? Is it just old and needs replacing? Will it fit in your new living room or bedroom? Some homeowners associations have fancy name fees well over $1,000 that are often overlooked. Things like obtaining a new driver's license, utility deposits, insurance, rental deposits, repairs or needed upgrades to your new home are often overlooked. What are some other costs that could be a big deal? If I've missed any, now I know I listed a mess of them here, put them in the comment section below so that others can benefit from your experience. I tell my customers that are moving to Florida from another state to consider that they may need an extra $3 to $5 grand just to make the move happen. Underestimating the cost of relocating to Florida could cost you big bucks or potentially leave you stranded, even having to abort mission if things get bad enough. Well, maybe that's a bit dramatic, but it could happen. I moved to the Orlando area from Michigan many years ago, and this one still cracks me up. People often tell me that they don't want to live near water because of alligators and snakes. They're concerned that some big gator will chase Fifi down, or worse yet, them, and have a snack, or that snakes will just take over their attics. While these things have happened, they aren't really a concern for Floridians as part of their everyday life. We do have plenty of snakes and alligators, but it isn't like we interact with them every day. I've spent many days water skiing amongst them, and somehow I've survived. The St. Johns River here in the Orlando area is loaded with people in these waters. Millions of people are in the water on our local beaches every day, and New Smyrna Beach, which is located right up the road, is considered to be the shark bite capital of the world. However, the odds of you having an encounter with a man-eating beast is very slim. Could it happen? Well, yes. Is it something you should worry yourself about? No, not if you take risks like driving on the highway or consume the type of diet I eat, as these things are much greater risk than being attacked by an alligator, a snake, or a shark. One big part of moving is determining how much space you'll need to have to bring your stuff to Florida. Once that truck is packed to the rim and you realize that you forgot to leave space for that family heirloom, and now you got to deal with what you're going to do with it, can be a real problem. Unloading and getting a bigger truck is usually off the table by that point. I see it time and time again that people underestimate the amount of space that they'll need to move. I also see them bring down old furniture that they end up getting rid of as soon as they get here. As such, have a yard sale or 2 or 3, heck, I don't care, just get rid of your stuff before you come to Florida. Ask yourself hard questions. Is that baseball card collection really worth holding on to? Do I really need 6 pairs of hiking shoes? Will the kids really want Grandma's hutch when I pass on? How do I know these questions? Well, I know them because I've been there and I've done that. You should start the decluttering process and getting rid of things that aren't necessary to move at least a month in advance. Flirting around with not getting the right moving company can be one of the biggest mistakes you can make when moving to Florida. So many people are moving into Florida and so few are moving out. As such, availability of inbound trucks can be an issue simply because of supply and demand. I've heard all sorts of horror stories about moving companies. Stories of people being scammed, or they're almost legendary. I've heard of entire trucks being delayed for several days or even weeks. You know, I can go on and on with some of the stories I've heard. The moving truck industry has its share of problems like so many industries these days. Now, if I haven't gotten too henny-penny on you already, I need to say that there are a lot of very good and reputable moving companies out there. However, you've got to do your homework ahead of time and get the right company on the calendar early so that when you need that truck, it's there for you. Failure to do this early in the process could leave you taking, whatever you can get at the last minute, and that's really not a place that I want to be. Once you've worked through a plan, take the time to come to Florida and speak with an experienced local realtor to get their perspective on an area that you're going to like before it's too late. Failing to do this, well, see mistakes number 1 and number 2 that I spoke of earlier, could be a huge mistake. Take time to be sure that it's what you want and devise a thoughtful plan to make it happen. If you'll need to sell your home, don't tell us here in Florida that you want to start looking for homes when your other home is already under contract. Speak with us before you put your home on the market. Do that a month or so before you do. Sometimes I'll have homes that I personally know will be coming to market in the next month or so that might be the perfect fit for you. I may be able to work with the seller to work with your timelines, but I can't do that if I don't even know you have a timeline. The sale of a home is a very stressful process. The purchase of a home is also a very stressful process. As such, give yourself time to breathe as you work through this process in an effort to not only save yourself a ton of gray hairs like I've got, but also a ton of money and stress upon you and whoever else is moving with you. While many lenders can serve buyers throughout the country, having a local lender is a huge advantage for our buyers. My team and I work closely with the realtor from the originating state to coordinate the sale and purchase of a home here in Florida. This greatly reduces the stress level and helps our buyers be more successful. My team and I have a ton of connections with other realtors throughout the U.S., and we may have one located where you are. So let us know before you reach out to them. Perhaps we can connect you with an experienced professional where you live before this process even begins, and that will help things go much more smoothly for you. Speaking of local lenders, if you're going to need financing to buy a home in Florida, like most of us do, you're going to need to speak to a lender. As such, you got to speak to a local lender very early in the process. You're going to need to know things like what your payment could be like and how that payment can be impacted by changing interest rates, what type of financing you could qualify for, and many other things. If a lender is going to take a risk on you, then they're going to want to know that you've got a way to pay for that loan. Lenders usually require continuous employment in the same industry or at least a similar position. If you're moving to Florida for a new job, then they're likely going to want to see an offer letter from your employer. They'll want to know things like how much you're going to be earning. They're going to want to know a start day and how you're going to be paid, like 1099 or W-2, for example. And they're going to want to know what position you'll have. If you're transferring with the same company, most lenders are still going to require 6 months to a year of continuous employment, and they may require pay stubs to back that up. Although I deal with my customers' financing every single day, I'm not a lender. A local lender will help you navigate the best financing option for you in your situation, because they, like your local realtor here in Florida, are not paid until closing. I need your help. What are some other pitfalls that you have endured? Let me know in the comment section below. I've been helping buyers and sellers as a realtor, but I'm learning every single day, and I'm often learning from people just like you. If you have questions about moving or need a local realtor in your state, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.